Hi guys, it's Kia. I'm back making another video, and this video is going to be about why nursing. Okay, so I'm going to begin with the very first time that I attempted to take a do a program in the medical field. I'll put it like that. So I have to go all the way back to 1997, and I'm going to tell my age. Go back to 1997 when I first got out of high school, and I decided that I wanted to be a medical assistant. And it was a awesome experience. I was just so excited, and I was in my element. Like at that time, I knew this was what I felt at peace doing. Prior to that, I had worked, jobs during school, customer service, telemarketing jobs. And even though my parents always wanted to see me in a corporate setting, they were very supportive of my decision to go and become a medical assistant. Now, when I first went into the medical assistant program, I wanted to be a nurse. But I was young and I didn't know exactly how to do that. And from what I can see going, in the going forward, it just seemed like it was just so long, so far away, so beyond my reach. So, when someone says that it may take you 2 years, that just seemed like a long time to be trying to achieve something. And I just didn't have the patience at the time. I wanted quick results. So someone said, "Well, why don't you just start at the bottom of the food chain and work your way up?" So I'm like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. So I went to a medical assistant program. It was a 9-month program, and I think about 2 months into the program, I was offered a job working at a pharmaceutical company. Actually, it was a healthcare, a medical company, one of the major healthcare providers. And so I took that job because it was more money than I ever thought that I would see as a medical assistant. So I weighed I weighed my pros and my cons, and I decided that I wanted to make the money. So, and to me, it was still like being in the medical field because it was working for one of the major insurance companies. Yeah. So, I left. And I went and I worked for that company for about a year and a half. And I was still trying to figure out how am I going to get back into the medical field. At this point now, I'm out here. I'm working. I done got me an apartment. I done got me a car. So now I got to work. There is no more, oh, let me go to school. Those days were over. My advice to anybody that's fresh out of school and fresh out of high school and have the opportunity to go back and further your education, please take advantage of it as soon as you get out of high school. Do not take a break. Do not go and get you a job. Do not go and take on all of these adult responsibilities before you have to. Take advantage of building a foundation for the rest of your life. Do not take temporary things and get a job, and then you get your own place, and then you have your car, and now you're independent. But now you're so independent that you can't take a break to do the things that you wanted to do. That's just my advice. I mean, if you can juggle working and going to school and having all of those responsibilities, more power to you. But at the time, I was only 17, and that was hard for me at that time. I didn't have any children, but I just, my mindset wasn't there. Okay, so um, from there, from the pharmaceutical company, I moved into another company, still in corporate, and I decided that I was going to go back to the medical field, and I didn't know how. I knew I didn't have the time to go back in a daytime program, and an evening programs. Most of the time, if you're in a daytime program, the program is shorter. If you do evening, it's almost like either double or maybe the time that it would take plus half. And I didn't want to do it the long route at that time. So I just said, you know what? I'm not going to go back for a medical assistant. I want to be a nurse, so let me start from the bottom. I'm going to go to school to be a CNA. This was in 2003. 2003. So from 1997 to 2003, I was constantly working but longing to be a nurse. All right, so completed the CNA course. That was no problem. I did it. I worked and I did the CNA classes in the evening time. Passed the state exam and got my certification. Started working in a nursing home. That was another beautiful experience. Just loved it. I just love the healthcare industry. I just really do. I just love working in healthcare. So once I did that, um, so I worked at the nursing home for about 7 months, and 7 months into the working at the nursing home, I found out that I was pregnant with my first child. So I took time out to have my daughter, and maybe about when I was about 3 months pregnant, I decided that I was going to go back to school. And during that time, I pursued my associate's degree in healthcare management. Very, again, I love the experience. So then I went back to work after I spent time raising my daughter. And I worked for another major medical company, put it like that. Um, so I did that for about a year. For about a year. And during this time, I was working a third shift. So I work third shift. I come home. I take care of my daughter for half of that time, and then my mom would take over, and then I would go back to work, and then I would take care of my daughter, and then my mom would take over. So I would get sleep like in between. Some way, somehow, I would squeeze sleep in. Well, I would get home at 6 a.m. My daughter would still be asleep, so I would sleep until like 6 to 9, and then she would be up ready to play. So I was to get up and spend some time with her, and then I would lay back down about 12, sleep a little bit more, and then go back to work. All right, so I wasn't able to find a job using my healthcare management degree. I applied everywhere, and it just wasn't happening. So I said, you know what? I am going to get as much as I can. I'm still working. I'm maintaining a job. I am living a good life, but I'm just building little steps to get to my major goal. So, in the midst of that, I say, okay, I'm going to go to school and get my phlebotomy certificate. So, I enroll into a phlebotomy program, and it worked out perfectly because I was able to go to that program and then go directly to work and then come home. I just added more to my plate, but I got through it. It was how many weeks was that program? I think it was 6 or 12 weeks. 6 or 12. Um, I don't know how long. I don't remember how long that program was, but finished it. Got my phlebotomy certificate. Tried to find me a job as a phlebotomist, and I didn't. I didn't find a job as a phlebotomist. So then I went back to corporate, and it was an offer that I could not refuse. I couldn't turn it down. So I took a job at my last company that I just got finished working for, and I ended up staying there 6 years. And during the whole time, I was taking my prereqs for nursing, and I just kept, and I had another daughter in between that time, and then I didn't know what school I was going to go to, but I just knew I needed to get sciences. I knew I needed to get some maths. I knew I needed to get English. I knew the basics of what I needed to get. So what I did was I looked on all of the websites of possible schools. I looked at what their prerequisite requirements were, and I went to a local community college and took those courses that lined up to what they needed. And most of the schools in this area that I live in will tell you that it is equivalent to a community college's, and it'll tell you the title of the course. Let's just say Math 101. They would tell you that it's equivalent to that, and then that's how you know what classes you need to take. Okay, this video is too long. Long story short, I took all my prereqs and you know, all of that, and then a blessing came. The company announced that they were going to go out of business and that we were going to get laid off. We already knew what date we were going to get laid off. I knew I was going to be laid off in January of 2012. I knew that this moment would be here in January of 2012, and now here we are in December, and I knew that I would be home because they already let us know. I had time to prepare for this moment for me to go to school. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just feeling blessed right now. Alright, I'm sorry. Sometimes you just gotta stop and just thank God when you think about all that He's done. So, with that being said, that is why nursing now. It is my time. It's been a long time coming for me. And if anybody is in any of the processes that I was in prior, whether it be CNA, medical assistant, phlebotomist, any of those fields, and you have dreams of becoming a nurse, do not give up, because it can happen. As long as you just keep your eye on your main goal, you will get there. And the whole time that you're preparing for it, God will set the path for you to get there. You just keep the faith. If that is what God has called you to do, there will be nothing that can get in the way of it. It may take longer, and that's because it's not time. But when your time comes, no one will be able to stop you, because it is something that is from God. It's your gift from God. So He's going to make sure that it happens. Okay, I'm done. This video is way too long. I'm so sorry if I rambled. I was just I felt like I needed to tell this to somebody that may need to hear it. So whoever you are, here is the video that you needed to hear, and I hope it blesses you, and do not give up on your dreams. Okay, bye-bye.